you join, kindly mute yourself so that we can move quick. Now, after all these things, you're going to look at the theories. Now, the theories, I don't have to go through everything. I'm just going to open your eyes small. Am I recording? Okay, I'm recording. Okay, I'm just going to open your eyes small to the theories. So the theories are more like they are all economic related. And they are all geared towards development of the various regions. So, like I mentioned earlier, these theories are propounded by people who believe that there should be regional development, but it should be this way. You understand? Now, before we go further, I want you to understand that when we say a theory, they are kind of probabilistic in nature. If I say probabilistic, it means they are based on predictions. They are not realistic. I mean, they are probability. People are guessing based on some statistical data they've analyzed or they have gotten. They can make some predictions or probabilities. They are not realistic. That is why they have criticism, so they have weakness. So every theory, my network, God, I beg, God, I beg, God, I beg. Let me finish this part so that at least it's right. Okay. So I was saying that when we say a theory, they are based on people assumptions, findings people have generated and other stuff. They are not realistic in nature. So every theory is subject to criticism. That is why all the theory, no matter how reasonable it is, we criticize it. And as students preparing for IA Saturday, we focus on areas such as the theory itself, the definition of the theory. When we say interregional and intra-regional, you should understand what it means. When we say the main tenets or the assumptions of the theory, when we are talking about the criticism, talking about people who brought it about. And some of them, they even have have types of them below it. So these are areas that you need to then master. Okay. Now the first theory.
The network is full.
Please, can you all hear me? I want to know if you can hear me so that I wouldn't be talking into the air. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you, but the network.
Yeah, the network is on. It's MTN's network. I wanted to even send money to someone. I went to buy a drink. It wasn't easy. The way I struggled, the MTN network is very bad nowadays. It's bad. Maybe I'll try switching to Vodafone. Okay, let's continue. So the first one is what we call it. So we are going to lay the theories. Now I can't read everything below it. So I'm going to just explain them. You have to just look at some key areas and then for the sake of IA, please learn some key areas. The points and the criticisms, some points under it, and that's all. You don't really have to read in details. Okay. Now let me explain what you mean by the interregional development theory, or we call it interregional trade theory. Now, when we say trade theory, today they why? Yeah, I'm not doing it because with the network, I don't understand. It keeps logging me out.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, nothing much. I thought you were not sleeping, but
Hey. 995. Sorry for my network this evening. It's not me. Not me. I'm even standing right under the Wi-Fi. I don't know what's happening. Okay. So I was talking about the international trade theory. the international trade theory. Now, the international trade theory was developed by Bertel Olin. Okay, Olin. People call it Ohan. Some people call it, we say Ohin. People say Olin. Whatever way, just know how to spell it. Yeah, I forgot to say one thing. The lecturers are marking anything. If it's a person's name or it's a concept, you don't write it correctly. They don't consider you, they mark you down. So if you're learn the meaning or the spelling of the word too. Don't assume that you're not in primary one, that they are going to correct it for you. If you get it wrong, they'll mark you down. They will know you have the concept, but already the lazy work. University student, you don't know how to spell a word. They just mark you down. So only was like, okay, Accra is country A. Kumasi is country B. They are going to trade among themselves. If I say trade, I mean there will be that kind of, some people bring things here, other people also bring things in here. So we have Kumasi people, let's say, who are not really rich or who are not really developed like Greater Accra. Okay. And we have people in Greater Accra who are well developed or who are advanced in what they're doing. Let's say they produce a variety of goods. Okay. So international trade theory said that one way of doing of this thing working is when we have one country that has comparative advantage. That has a comparative advantage. If I say comparative advantage, the cost of producing a particular commodity is cheaper than anyone. So if I can produce computers, I can produce a lot of computers at a very cheap price. That's in my comparative advantage. Okay, that's what one assumption that Olin theory states, that the trade between them is based on comparative advantage. And Olin also went further to say that, okay, the, should I say, the labor or the inputs, not only labor, the inputs used in production of goods and services are identical. So the technology in Greater Accra, please, tomorrow, can we start earlier than this period? Because I don't know. Tomorrow, I will start earlier than this period. I don't know, maybe it may affect some people, but tomorrow is Friday. So by 6:30 or even by 7, I'll start so that we can conquer a lot. I wanted to summarize all the theories, but my network keeps plugging me out. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, please. Thank you. So
we start at 6.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
So these are some assumptions. They can tell you to list 2 assumptions about the Olin theory: identical inputs of production, and then it's based on comparative advantage. And I'll explain to you. Comparative, I said when the 2 of us are producing the same thing, but I can produce the same thing at a cheaper price. That we can also call comparative cost advantage. Okay, and then another, no transfer costs are incurred in trade, which is not true. There's no way there will be trade and no transfer cost involved. It's never true. So that will come under the criticism. Then the last assumption that you can take is that factors of production are interregionally immobile. Please take note of this. A lot of people get this thing wrong. Factors of production are when you say interregion, I mean between 2 countries. So Greater Accra is country A, Kumasi is country B. When we want to relate, you can say inter. Okay. But when we say intra is within the same region. Let's say Greater Accra, within Greater Accra. Okay. But the theory explains the same thing. I mean, so intra means within, and inter is between 2 countries. Please get it right. Okay. So that is what I've explained. The main tenets and the assumptions are not different. And with only theory, they are much focused on development or specialization. So the more you produce the commodity, the more you become specialized in what you're doing. Okay. And criticism. So you know how you can develop then easily. Okay. So you look at the criticisms, you look at the assumptions, then you criticize them. Okay. You look at the assumptions, Please, I'm teaching you easy to learn. You don't have to stress yourself. Look at the assumptions that people are assuming concerning as international trade with a good put theory, the main tenet for the assumptions. Then you try to what? Use the assumptions to build your criticisms. It's very, very easy. Okay. So that's all about the international trade theory. Please, any question here? So it oh, any question? Please,
Yeah.
you have a question?
Uh-huh.
Yes, please.
The points after factors of production are usually immobile. The next point after that, I didn't see.
You said, I didn't hear you, please.
Okay, I said factors of production are intelligently immobile. The next point after that one is like you skip it.
Let me check that one. Okay. So I was saying that the production function, which relates the level of output to levels of input use, is as if, oh, I didn't skip this. I used a different, I stated differently. So I was the last point that you think I was talking about identical process production. I was talking about identical process production. See, I said all the process of production between all these three.
Is the thing is breaking up? I can't hear.
I said all the process of production within all these three is identical. So
It's not good, so we can't hear you. It's breaking.
So labor, technology, and then the land are identical in all regions. That's what it means. It doesn't mean differently. The cost of production in Kumasi are the same as the cost of production in Accra. That's what it means. Okay. So I never skip that one. So like you can develop your criticisms from the main tenet or from the assumptions. That's all. Now let's go to the export-based theory. The export-based theory said that a country that is involved in importation, or should I say that exports more goods and services, tend to develop. So the higher or the more you export goods and services outside the country, the more you are likely to develop. Okay, that's the whole thing. So exports, it's a country development is based on what? Its export level. So Ghana here, if you're able to export more cocoa than any other country, or we're able to export cocoa from here more than any. And under the export-based theory, we have two types. Okay, we have the basic and then the non-basic. Okay, basic and non-basic. So basic activity sector, the non-basic activity sector. When we say basic, they deal with the export itself. So they export cocoa, our agricultural products, our mineral products, and all that. That's what we mean by basic. And the non-basic are like okay, like banking, stuff like education center, something like insurance, anything that relates with like should I say the local is a non-basic. Then the basic. So that is it for the